G'day, welcome to the channel. So today I am going to go through a side-by-side comparison with these two beautiful canoes. Now, a disclaimer at the start, these are both my canoes. I love them both, but also a dealer for Ozone. I've got no bias. Everything I say here today is my opinion, how I feel in the canoes and what I like about each of them. So all I can say is if you're in the market for a new canoe, see if you can paddle all the models available from Ozone and then make your decision based on the conditions that you're going to be paddling in and your ability, your weight, your height. So many different factors come into play when choosing a new canoe. So it's all a personal choice. For me, I can't choose some days. I guess that's pretty much why I've still got two canoes. There's so many things that I love about the Ares. There's so many things I love about the Volare on different days. So enjoy what I have for you today on the beautiful banks of the Swan River here in Perth. And let me know down in the comments what you think, which way you're going to go. The construction of these two canoes, this is the pro version in the Ares, and I've got the standard in the Volare. Underneath, they're exactly the same. The amazing construction from Ozone, the monocoque, one-piece design, full carbon, super light, and super stiff in the ocean. So let's get into it. Okay, first up, I'm going to go over the Ares Pro Kaiwa canoe. Such a awesome downwind canoe. I'm relatively new into the sport of outrigging, coming from a surf ski and then stand-up background. But I just paddle for downwind conditions. My first canoe I purchased about 3 years ago now was a Kahikai, and then progressed to a Kahili, a shorter canoe. I thought favoured the downwind conditions over here, even though I'm a heavier paddler, like I'm up that 90 plus kilo mark. So I did a couple of seasons on those. I decided to go for the Ares Pro just recently in this last shipment that we received, and I've been loving this canoe in the downwind conditions. It's got a slightly smaller volume, it's slightly longer. This is the Pro version, so I know I'm not really comparing apples with apples, but the construction is pretty much the same, and it's just a little bit of weight in terms of the paint on the standard. So the big difference on the Ares canoe, straight away you can go to the shape of the armour. Now, not being a person that knows the science behind why we've got a couple of different armour shapes by the different manufacturers, but the Kaiwa armour has a lot less volume at the nose, and it sort of pierces through those bumps, so it's a lot different. It's got a slightly different shape, it's got a little bit more rocker, and the canoe itself has got a lot more rocker than coming from the Kahili and then to the Volare. Now, also with the Ares, you have, I'd almost call it a double footwell, but it's actually one. You do have the separator for your heels down here. Coming from a surf ski background, I do prefer a complete single footwell, and I'm quite heavy on the heel drive, so I like the fact that that's nice and solid. For me personally, and if the factory ever watches this, Johnny or Kai, we need to come up with some factory foot plate pads, because again, just that extra level of comfort. So on a personal level, I always put some foot padding inside my footwell for my leg drive and the pedals. This here is just a little bit for my GPS watch, so I'll just wrap my watch around that. The other features that I love about this canoe is front and rear. Now, you can pretty much put anything there, day trip or whatever. Lately, on the downwinders here on this canoe, I've been putting like a wave deflector cowling at the top here. So if the nose does tend to bury, then like on a lot of skies that do on surf skis these days, that water deflects and then it doesn't fill up your cockpit. I've taken it off at the moment just for this demonstration. What else about this canoe? Oh, so I've added a bit of extra heavy duty rail tape there. It's from the guys that race SUPs. They know all about that. So it's a bit more heavy duty than the standard one there. And pretty much surfing this canoe is about being patient. Coming from a season and a half racing the Kahili, if you've got the fitness, the Kahili is so fast on the small bumps. You can power over them, you can keep going. It's super comfortable. It took me a little while to adjust to the Ares. It likes to sit in the bump. You have to be a lot more patient. And by being patient, it just means you have to know when to go, when to put the power down and go. And then once you're on the runs, oh, this thing is super sweet. Yeah, on the days here in Perth when it gets big, I literally, it's hard pressed if you can get this canoe off me. Love it. Not saying that it's hard pressed to get the Volare off me at the moment either, because for me it's 50-50 about where I go. But I think on the bigger ocean swell days, and you just want to take your time, enjoy the bumps and have a big smile on your face. For me, at the moment, the Ares just chips it over the Volare. So tell me what you think in the comments of your impressions. Have you paddled both? Let me know. So now we'll head over to the Volare. Okay, the green machine with my custom big logo at the front, and it was actually, I enjoyed designing the colour scheme on this canoe. I think the green and the white really pops. Get a lot of comments with it too. So it's my green grasshopper. Okay, big changes in from the Kahili going up to the Volare. A lot more volume. So for the bigger guy, like over 90 kilos, of which I am, straight away I was very interested in when Johnny said he was developing a canoe with more volume. And it's pretty much got the volume all around the boat. Pretty much from this area here, under the seat, and then also to the rear of the canoe. Big changes in canoes coming from Ozone is the fact that this is the first canoe from the Ozone factory that has had the adjustable foot brace. This canoe was from, I think, pretty much the first batch, I think, coming out of the factory. They've made a couple of slight changes to the hardware on the adjustable foot plate. Namely is, these aren't stainless steel anymore, they're all titanium, so it makes it lighter. Weight wise, on the standard canoe, you can feel a little bit of extra weight if compared to, say, if you're picking up a standard Kahili. So there is that extra little bit of weight in that foot plate assembly. But for the bigger guys, you know exactly what this canoe is made for, then that little extra bit of weight and the fact that you can really adjust the canoe setup to how you like it, then I think that's just a slight trade-off. Yeah, it's nothing too big at all. Now, I've said there's a lot of different, a lot more volume in this canoe, and it's longer than the Kahili. So the Kahili was, for a canoe, was quite short, but the Volare has got that extra length, but the waterline I think is slightly less because it has got more rocker. It's got a lot more rocker than the Kahili, its previous model. If you compare the rocker of these two canoes together, then the Ares again has a little bit more rocker. Everyone asks the question, which one's faster? Depends on the conditions. For me personally, I've done a lot of paddling in the Kahili, a lot of paddling in both these two canoes, and if you're just doing flat water and you're a person of my size, my fitness level, the speeds of the boats go Kahili, Volare, Ares, on flat water only. Out in the ocean, completely different story. That's just what I found in going on, say, a 5 or a 10K time trial on the river here, with conditions pretty similar. And saying that, when I'm saying one boat's faster than the other on flat water, there's not that much in it. So it's all up to your own ability and the conditions of the day. I digress. Getting back to the Volare. The Johnny's canoes have also got the cowling on top, which if you wanted to remove it, you could. I can't say I've ever removed it on the Kahili or even before then the Kai, and whether you add a little bit of rubber here, this is a Danny Ching special, so for a drink bottle or something, you know, it just adds that extra little bit to it. This canoe is slightly wider than the Ares. So I think from memory it's about 40.6 inches, or sorry, centimeters, compared to about, I think, 40.3. So in terms of the seat width, very small margin difference. Overall length of the canoes, the Ares is longer. I think the Ares is around 20 feet 6 inches, around that, don't quote me. And the Volare is sitting around 19 feet 6 inches. So there's about a foot difference in length from memory. And I'm sure someone in the comments is going to let me know exactly the difference between the lengths of these canoes. I think it really only makes a difference in your storage. So if you've got a standard garage, now I'm speaking Australian standard, then the Kahili will fit. But for me, I've got a standard garage and I have to put these two canoes on a diagonal across, so there's no car. There's no room for cars, only canoes in my garage. All right, now the Volare in the ocean, how does it perform compared to the Ares? I've got two canoes. I've done lots of kilometers, lots of downwinders in both. What I can say about the Volare is it is definitely in relation to its namesake. It flies. In my opinion, I believe the Volare almost planes across the bumps. It literally just gives you a bit of lift and you feel like you're sitting higher on the bump compared to the Ares, where you're sitting nice in the right spot on the trough of the bump. This thing will just take off. Like the Kahili would just fly in the small bumps and you could just link, you can power over a lot of bumps. Ares, you can power over, but you just need that extra bit of speed. And sometimes I'll just use too much energy on the Ares if I'm impatient and I want to power over the bump onto the next one. The Volare's characteristics in the ocean, a little bit similar to the Kahili, but again, you can't be as ambitious and want to try and paddle over the bumps Once this thing gets up going in the runs and you're linking them, as I said, it just feels like it just lifts on top of the water and just planes. That's the big difference that I find between these two canoes. You've got a canoe here that just wants to surf and stay in the bump. You've got a canoe here that wants to power over the top if you can get there. It just links up easily between one, but you just feel like you're just a little bit higher on the water, which is, you know, quite unusual. And again, it's about getting to know the feel of the canoe, getting the setup right on the footwells, getting your seat in the right position so you've got that weight set up in the right area, depending on how heavy you are and how tall you are. Going to how tall you are. Now, if I was to wanting to put all my weight back in the Volare, only be able to use about half of the footwell. So for me, I'm almost at that area where I get the best out of this canoe if I set it slightly more forward, based on the conditions that we've got here in Perth. Now, if I had conditions that were different, big ocean swells, big distance apart, and I wanted just to sit back and surf, then I would probably be experimenting with pushing my weight further to the back of the canoe. But based on the conditions that we have here in WA, I haven't had the need to put the seat back because I always want to have the nose down. We have conditions here that have mainly wind generated bumps, so it's all about keeping the nose down and inside the trough, surfing across, connecting the next one. So in this canoe for me, I have my weight forward. Now I'm going to flip the boats over and give you a look at the hulls, and then we'll wrap it up and I'll wait to hear from your comments. All right, I've flipped the canoes over, so let's have a look. So we'll go to the Ares first. This is Ares Pro. Sleek waterline. Double Venturi. And if I can go on the side, we might be able to have a little bit of the rocker shape. So it has got a nice amount of nose and tail rocker. So that nose and tail rocker is important when you're catching a bump and you're surfing. So now, so the big difference that I can see straight away, and I don't know whether it's just because it's a painted canoe, but you can really see the difference in width on the Volare. So there's a lot of width around that seating area and down to the tail. The tails also of these canoes are different. So the Volare does have a lot more volume in the tail also. Slightly different shape, and the Ares here looks a lot sharper at the top compared to this fuller area here with a lot more volume. Now I've played around with a bit of a weed deflector here. Wasn't convinced. We do get a lot of weed here in Perth, and it can just really make your day terrible. Okay, Venturi. This is not the standard factory Venturi. I've made some modifications. I found in the big conditions that the drainage that I would feel it to be acceptable wasn't quite up there. having been a surf ski paddler for a number of years in the ocean, I just know how efficient the bullet systems are. So I just made the call and pretty much changed it and put the bullet and the cap on, and the drainage I've seen is probably about a 75% improvement. Super dry. It actually sucks completely dry, which is what you want, especially when you're in the ocean. And that's pretty much an improvement that I've added, but you know, it's up to you. I think they have made some changes, slight improvements on the Venturi now moving forward from the factory. Anyone that's got a Volare, let me know in the comments what you're experiencing with the drainage. I'd love to know. Was it just my canoe that wasn't very good at the start? Yeah, just let us know in the comments. But saying that, we're talking drainage. Even the double Venturi system on the Ares, I still have water in the bottom even on going down runs. So, you know, the drainage isn't perfect on a lot of canoes, but I found the improvement that I made on this one fixed it. So yeah, let us know in the comments. Okay, well, hopefully it's given you a bit of a side-by-side comparison of the Volare and the Ares. I love both canoes. I don't know what I'm going to do. Am I going to go sell one? I don't know. It's the beauty. I've been here in Perth and having so many different conditions. You know, one day I might jump on the Ares and then race my time on the Volare. It's one thing I haven't had a chance to do yet. A back-to-back downwind on the same course on the same day. It could be coming. I hope it's coming. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this review. Well, comparison. Don't forget to like the page, like this one, tell me what you think, and enjoy the scenery from the lovely Swan River in Perth. All right, I'll catch you on the next run. You.